Hi, welcome to Planet in the Word. I'm Candace, and today we are going to talk about another tool that you can put in your toolbox as you're studying your Bible. And today's tool is a biblical dictionary. And biblical dictionaries are called lexicons. I don't know why, it's just the way they do it. So you usually will have a Hebrew lexicon or a Greek lexicon, depending upon if you're studying a word out of the Old Testament or the New Testament. Specifically today, we're going to focus on a Hebrew lexicon. And the book that I like to have in my reference library is a Theological Wordbook of the Old Testament. So I'm going to show you what that looks like in just a second. But in order to show you how to do a word study using that tool, I have to pick a word or use it in a context or something that I find interesting that we can use as an example. So if I'm honest, let's talk about Proverbs 31. I have a love-hate relationship with Proverbs 31 woman. I just do. Genuinely, when you read her as she appears in your Bible, she's a little bit irritating. She gets up before the sun comes up and she provides for her family and wah, wah, wah. She's just not my favorite. However, I decided a few years ago that I was really going to do a word study in this Proverbs 31 woman, and I found that the way our English-speaking Bible translates her is not actually really the way she's translated or understood in the Hebrew language. And then what began me on that path was specifically today the word that I would like to look into. And it's right at the beginning of the Proverbs 31 woman in Proverbs 31:10. And that passage reads most typically, "An excellent wife, who can find her? For her worth is far beyond jewels." Sometimes they will use a virtuous woman. There's a lot of different words that go on in that passage that are used. What's irritating to me is that is actually the Hebrew word chayil, and it is a little bit different meaning. So we're going to watch a real quick video, and I'm going to show you both how to find the Theological Wordbook of the Old Testament number. It works a little bit like the Strong's, and then how to use that and how to get the information that you need.
So if I'm wanting to use the Theological Wordbook of the Old Testament to define an Old Testament word or to find more information on it, I'm going to go ahead and get to it this way. This is where I get a little help from Blue Letter Bible. I have opened up Proverbs 31:10 here, and you can see that it gives me this virtuous woman definition. And if I go to Tools and Interlinear, it will break that verse down into all its Hebrew words, at which point I can come down and find that word chayil. It is the Strong's word 2428. So if I touch on that, click on it, I'm going to get just that chayil word, which is really helpful. And if I come down a little further, I'm going to find that it's going to give me a lot of information, but specifically, it's going to give me the Theological Wordbook of the Old Testament number. So I can find that number right here. It's just a shortcut for not having to look all the way through my book. So I'm going to write this down. Now, currently, right now, Blue Letter Bible does not have a link to the Theological Wordbook. It's just going to give me the information about that book, but I do have the number. If you have for purchased software, such as Logos or Accordance, you can, in that app itself, purchase that book and have them linked so that when you clicked on this number in those particular programs, it would pull that book up immediately if you have paid for it.
Okay, now that you know how to find the number for your Theological Wordbook of the Old Testament, sometimes abbreviated the TWOT. Now, let me show you how to then use that number and actually get your information out of your reference book. Here you can see I've got my Theological Wordbook of the Old Testament out, and you'll also be able to note I have a lot of bookmarks where I use this quite often. It is one of my favorites. So I've already gone to entry for chayil, which is 624a, and you can see it right here. And what I'm going to do is take a picture so that we can look at this up close, and it goes to the next page. But what I want to draw attention to you is what we notice as we read this. And specifically, if you look at the definition of this word, the word chayil means might, strength, power, valiant, virtuous, army, Forces, riches, substance, and wealth. The basic meaning of the noun is strength, from which follows army and wealth, used 224 times. And in the sense of strength and power or might, chayil is used 20 times. In the idea of wealth, it is used about 30 times. But this particular word seems to always, this is Candace speaking again, it seems to always follow the idea of strength and army. In fact, it really means at its very core to do valiantly. And when you do valiantly, it was armies that could get strength and might and power. It was armies that collected wealth. So this word, when applied to men, means army and valor and strength. So why transition it over when you're talking about a woman? And that really is the question I want to answer. In fact, this word is used 2 times in the Bible specifically of women. The first time is in Ruth, and the second time is in Proverbs. And I want to point out the fact that Ruth is David's great-grandmother, and Proverbs was written by David's son Solomon. Both of these describe women, especially in Proverbs 31, who it says, these women are virtuous women, but both of them use the Hebrew word chayil. And the question is, why does it mean army and strength and might and power and riches when it's talking about men, and transition over to virtuous when it's talking about a woman? And if you follow down in the definition, we have a key phrase that's very important. It says, when we use virtuous about a woman, it may very well be that a woman of this caliber had all the attributes of her male counterpart. Meaning, about woman it meant virtuous, but about men it meant to do valiantly. And maybe that is not necessarily what it should be saying. So really, if we take the root word, and no matter who it's applied to, we leave its value and its definition the same, what's really going on here in Proverbs 31 is he's saying, listen, what is the value of a valiant woman? This woman is strong. She is wealthy. This woman kicks butt and takes names. This is a warrior woman. This isn't some wimpy, submissive, virtuous, quote unquote, woman. If we use the definition of chayil as it applies just specifically as valiant and warrior-like militant term, then we get a different understanding of this Proverbs 31 woman. It totally changes the perspective with which we have. And I think that is valuable for us to understand. And this is why a word study is very important. And specifically, why I like the Theological Wordbook of the Old Testament, because it gives you understanding when a translator's chosen a word, they can't necessarily always convey and explain to you why they picked that word or what the value of that word is. But now I understand that this word in this instance has a much greater meaning than just that word virtuous or an excellent wife. I hope this brings you enlightenment. Enjoy. Continue to use your reference books to help bring understanding and excitement as you read your Bible. Have a good day. Thanks for stopping by. Bye-bye.